Hi, this is Jacob Lieberman. It's November 4th, one day before my daughter's birthday, and this is Sound Bites from Heaven. Have you ever wondered why you experience sort of repeated type of frictions or uncomfortable interactions with your partners? Do you ever wonder why they do certain things that sort of trigger you? Have you noticed that you've married your father dressed as a woman, or you married your mother dressed as a man? Why does that happen? Why is it that our intimate partners, our business partners, and even our closest friends, the way that they are reminds us of certain types of relationships we've had in the past, maybe with our parents, our grandparents, our siblings? I looked at the same phenomenon almost 40 years ago after going through a difficult divorce and realizing that all the people that were closest to me, they seemed to mimic a relational dynamic that I had had as a child with one of my parents that always felt uncomfortable for me. And everywhere I looked, I saw the same relationship repeating itself, and I realized there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. Wherever I am, life is going to find me. And all of a sudden I realized that this wasn't a problem, this was actually part of the solution. That life was always bringing me a perfect human homeopathic remedy that would awaken something in me that required me to become aware of, so that over time my life would desensitize itself from these habitual triggers that catalyze stress in my life. Now, at first I thought, that's an interesting concept, but then I realized that the same relational dynamic that we have in this way actually mimics exactly the relational dynamic that minerals in the world have with the environment. You see, the entire human body is composed of minerals. And so if we look at the way minerals interact with the environment, it could give us some really interesting clues about how we interact in our lives and why we attract certain things into our lives. So for instance, if you take a mineral like iron and you heat it up and excite it, when it's in an excited state, it gives off energy. It gives off a blueprint of its energetic fingerprint, and you can actually measure it with a device called a spectroscope. And the energy it gives off is what we would call Fraunhofer emission lines. And that is the characteristic energetic fingerprint of that element. That's how you can describe. When you see that fingerprint, you can say, oh, that's iron. And when you have a piece of iron, you can say it's going to look like this energetically. What's really interesting is when that piece of iron is in an excited state and giving off its energy, if you put it into an environment like an environment of light from the sun, it will attract to itself exactly the same energetic fingerprint it's giving off. Well, that's rather fascinating because we're composed of minerals entirely. And we live in a place called the solar system, which means we are of or derived from light. In other words, during the day when we are in an excited state, we are continually attracting to ourselves a mirror image of the energy we're giving off. Now, immediately you could jump to the conclusions and say, oh, that's the law of attraction. But no, this is something very, very different. You're not attracting this because you've made a mistake or you've chosen improperly. You're attracting this because this is the key to our transformation and evolution. Life is always providing us a perfect remedy that matches where we are at. And that creates a homeopathic reaction where something gets stimulated and brought into awareness. And because awareness is curative, being with it causes it to begin to dissipate. So when you're having interactions with your intimate partners, your business partners, your close friends, and some of those interactions feel like they have a little friction in them, don't be concerned. Because if there's perturbance, you're on the right track. It's not that you've made a mistake. Perturbance is the key element that lets us know that we're on the right path, that we are moving towards some expansion. So whether you're talking about physics or biology or chemistry, things have to be disturbed. The status quo has to be disturbed for expansion to occur. In other words, for us to evolve. Even when you're washing your clothes, it's not the soap or the water that gets the clothes clean, it's the agitation. So if you're experiencing agitation, look at that crisis as an incredible opportunity. I have been doing my best to embrace those situations in my life for the last 40 years when I become aware of this particular dynamic. And now I can tell you something. My life feels filled with contentment. I'm in a wonderful, wonderful relationship that is drama-less. It's no longer about working things out or continual friction or wondering why your partner does this and that. It's all about appreciation. It's all about gratefulness. It's all about love. Have a fabulous weekend. Please like us on Facebook, and if you like what we've shared today, please share it with your friends. Have a sweet one. Aloha.